Hi everyone, I just wanted to do a quick video tutorial around the two projects that we had for our catalogue launch last Sunday, and those that were there at the launch got project sheets which detailed the instructions on how to make the two projects. The first of which is this really cute mini milk carton that has got one of the little girls out of the Kimono Kids stamp set on it. Now, for some of you, reading instructions isn't always the easiest way to assemble a project, so I just wanted to do a video about the tricky little things or the new little things that we learnt to do when we were making this project. So the first of which is around our Kimono Kids and how we colour them in. So the set is this one here, and it has two little girls in it, and you can choose either one. But I've got these in the clear mounted, and I've mounted one of the little girls there, and I'm going to stamp her in the basic black from the classic ink pads. Now you can see on the stamp, hopefully you can see, there's a large bit of area that's actually coloured in the black when you stamp her out. Now if you just do the regular stamping like this, she'll often come out a little bit patchy in places because the ink hasn't really gotten on all those places. So what I do to make sure she inks up properly is I give her a bit of a rub backwards and forwards, and then I do another couple of stamps on the ink pad, and then when you stamp your image on your Whisper White, let's hope it works, yeah, you get a nice black coloured in bit for the girl, which is great. So the next thing is to think about colouring her in, and in this little girl here you can see that because we've used the Pacific Point and the Daffodil Delight as our two colours for our containers, I've coloured her in with these two inks. Now to do the colouring, I've used the classic ink, and I'm actually going to use the blender pens as a mechanism for taking some ink from our stamp pads. Now the great thing about blender pens is you get them in a pack of 3, and if you've got a stamp pad and you want to colour in, these are the best way to do it, and you don't need to use the black stays on inks when you're using the blender pen, so that's another great thing. But the way you do it is to actually give your stamp pad a quick squeeze, and when you do that, it actually transfers ink to the lid of your container. So usually when we stamp, we slide this back into place and we put our stamp onto the pad that way, but for the blender pen we'll leave it open, and essentially it's really easy to use. So you take an end off, both ends are exactly the same. Get yourself a little bit of spare absorbent paper or a tissue I've got in this instant, and you'll see when you rub the pen on the tissue, it's clear liquid, there's nothing in it. So basically you just run your blender pen into the ink that has come out on the lid, and then you use this to colour in your image. Okay, so I'm just going to do some little yellow flowers up the top here, and as you can see, you just continually go back to the ink that's on the lid, and the more, I've guessed, the more ink you put on it, the darker the colour is. So you could do a lighter yellow if you wanted to, but the more ink you pick up, the darker it will be. So what I wanted to show you is that you don't need to use a new tip or a new pen for every colour. Just wipe the excess off, and you'll see that this yellow has gone onto the tissue there that I've got, and all you need to do then is you can go straight on and do your next colour choice. So I'll do a little blue down here on her shoes like this, and again just continue to pick up colour. And again, when you finish, if you want to swap colours again, you'll see that the blue eventually just wipes off. Okay, and don't be too worried. So here's an image I've already coloured in with the Daffodil Delight and the Pacific Point. So the next thing we have to do is take our wide oval punch and punch her out. Punch her out, and then using a little bit of the Pacific Point on a dauber, these little daubers that go on your finger, I just do a little bit of a smoosh around the edge. Okay, so the last thing we need to do to prepare our image is to flip her over to the back and apply 2 dimensionals of our dimension sheets, one at the top and one at the bottom. Okay, now she's ready to go on our milk carton. So now it's time to show you a few tips about putting your milk carton together. So the milk carton is created using the die for the Big Shot, and voila, cuts you out a milk carton. Comes complete with all the cut lines plus all of the scores. So you can see this one here, I've actually gone ahead then and folded all of the score lines. You get scores all at the top of the carton. Make sure you fold all of these score lines really well. At this stage, it doesn't matter whether you fold them up or down. When you're actually putting the carton together, you'll see which goes best. Now, the other trick that I've got to offer for this one is that, see, I've put a little brad at the top here for the little hello tag. Always good to put the brad and the tags on before you assemble the box, because once you assemble it, it's very hard to get your finger in to flatten the brad out. So what I've also gone ahead and done is on the flat end here, is you can see that that's going to be the spout of the milk carton. I've gone ahead with my paper piercer and I've just placed a small hole in the carton there, ready for my tag. So it's really important to do that before you assemble the carton. The other thing that I did do to make the box a little bit different is I've used the confetti stamp set here, and I've chosen this one here, which for all intents and purposes I'm going to call fireworks. It may not be fireworks, but that's what I'm going to call it. And I just use a little bit of the specific point and just randomly place what I'm calling fireworks all over our milk carton before you assemble it. Now, of course, you don't need to put the fireworks all the way to the bottom, because these bottom flaps all fold under. You can certainly just sort of stamp down as much as or as little as you like. So fireworks all over. The next thing that we need to do is, like I said, we need to put this tag on before we assemble the box. So just on a scrap piece of Daffodil Delight, I've gone and stamped the hello image from the tiny tag stamp set, which you've seen before. And I'm using the jewellery punch here. I'm going to punch this one out. So the other trick I was telling everybody about at the workshop on Sunday, that's a good little one, I can't remember where I picked it up from, but place your tiny tag image into the jewellery punch where you want it. And these punches, you can sort of hold them and squeeze them, and it holds that paper nice and flat and it's not going anywhere, and I haven't punched anything. But before you actually punch that little tag out, because we want to put a brad in the end, take my paper piercer, and in the centre of where the tag, the brad is going to go rather, I pierce a hole in that tag, and then just continue to punch the tag completely out. Now the reason that you do that, as many of you will know, if you've got this jewellery punch, you punch out these and then you try to use the paper piercer to put the hole in the end, and all you end up doing is getting that whole end of your tag all scrunched and messed up. So it's easier to do it while it's in the punch before you completely punch it through. Okay, so then a little silver brad is what I use to attach this little tag, so just straight through. So the next thing to do is to assemble our milk carton, and that's done simply by placing a piece of sticky strip, which I've already done, on the little tag bit that hangs out there. And then you flip your milk carton over and you put a piece of sticky strip between the last segment, the last quarter of the box. And you'll see why once we put it together. So to assemble our milk carton, now your die does come with instructions about how to assemble this mini milk carton. I found them a little bit confusing, and this is sort of, I guess, how I decided worked best for me, so I'm kind of just sharing that with you. Others may assemble them slightly different, but this worked for me, so hopefully it will work for you too. And then essentially just lining that edge up there, pressing it down, and you end up with a cylinder. So that's your first step. The next step is to take that piece of sticky strip off that you've placed on the inside, and hence, again, a good reason to put the sticky strip in there when it's nice and flat, because again, difficult to apply sticky strip on the inside of the container. Then I found the best way to do it is to stand it up like this and fold the carton in like you would fold a milk carton. And as you squeeze it together like that, make sure your sides stay popped out, you'll see that the carton kind of comes together quite nice, and one end still opens like a milk carton and the other end should be securely stuck together with that sticky strip that we've stuck in there. Now you'll see, you can see all the way through to the bottom and it's open. I also found that I filled mine with little mini jelly beans and when I'd completely put the box together and then I tried to feed mini jelly beans through the spout, I got relatively frustrated with that. So my second tip is if you are going to fill it with something small like mini M&Ms or jelly beans or whatever, my tip is to secure the top of your mini milk carton. These are really cute little tiny mini library clips which you can get from Stampin' Up, and you get all sorts of colours in there which are really good to choose from. They are also tiny and difficult to get your hands on, but once you've got one out, stick it on your carton to secure it, flip your carton over, fill with contents. Now I'm not going to do that. I'm going to cause myself dramas later on when I try to fill this if I decide to use it, but my recommendation is to fill it before you close it up. Then essentially all you do is fold 2 flaps in, that flap, and then the last flap has to be a flap that's opposite the other side. Now I've already stuck, oh no I haven't already stuck sticky strip on that, my oversight. So basically 2 bits in, 1 in, and then you just only need 1 little piece of sticky strip, which I'll have to do now. Apologies, I thought I'd already done that. Across here like that, and cut a piece of sticky strip there, take that off like so, and secure the bottom of your carton. Voila! Okay. So what you do need to do is then apply the belly band and the image. Now the belly band is made by taking a piece of Daffodil Delight cardstock. It's about 1 inch wide by 7 inches long. Now I thought mine was a bit plain, so what I wanted to do was to add some texture to it, so I've got the polka dot embossing folder. Now again, I'm not going to show you how to run this through the big shop, but the tip I do have for you is that you'll notice the cardstock is longer than the folder. So how do I get around that? What I do is I place the Daffodil Delight in the embossing folder so that it sort of lines up with the crossways patterning of the dots, so they're running along the length of the Daffodil Delight. Now you'll notice there's a bit that hangs out the bottom and the top. That's not a problem because when it wraps around the milk carton, the image hides that. So run that through your embossing folder and voila, you get a piece of dotty cardstock with these, like I said, 2 blank ends here. Then all you have to do is put the Daffodil Delight with the plain bit on the front of your carton. Now I'm calling the bit that I've got the tag on here, and basically just run it around your milk carton, give the corners a squeeze as you run it around, like such. Put sticky strip on the inside edges, 2 ends of your piece of Daffodil Delight, take one off, place it in the centre of your box, run this around your box, take the other end off, like so, and then join it in the middle. Okay, and like I said, you've got this blank piece of cardstock here that's got no dots on it, but we're going to use our little image to cover that up. So just take the backings off your dimensionals that we applied earlier and centre your little kimono girl cut out right over that plain piece, and there you have a complete milk carton. Really easy, just a couple of quick tips to remember in terms of what steps you need to do before the others. Remember to always put your brads on earlier, and tip is to fill the container before you close her up. So there's the 2 little milk cartons, and I hope you enjoy using your blender pens as much as I do. Okay, thanks guys.